Hi, welcome to the Augur meeting on May 14th, 2020, May 14th, 2020. And our main topic today is a demonstration of Augur's new push notification tool, Augie, which has just been released to the world. And Augie is the collaborative brainchild of Jonah Zukowski, who's going to demo it, and Michael Woodruff, who did some front-end work, and emerged from discussions with the whole Augur team, including an insight worker that Gabe Heim developed, and our Google Summer of Code students are going to be adding on to this summer, and of course, Carter Landis, our fearless leader. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jonah to describe what Augie is and how one would use it. So Jonah, take it away. And you might want to share your screen already.
Yeah. There we go. So Augie is basically a Slack app that is going to live in any of your respective Slack workspaces as a bot user. And Augie will receive insights from our insight worker and post them to your Slack workspace just as a DM on a daily basis. You can configure the host that the insights are pulling from, the repos that you're tracking, the types of repo or insights that you're tracking, and the number of messages you want to receive per day, right here at Augie.Augur.Labs.io.
So just to make it clear to people, you can download Augur and run it yourself and have a public URL, and we'll figure out the rest at the Slack configuration. We're managing for you so that you don't have to worry about configuring that for yourself.
Yep.
Go ahead,
All
Jonah.
you need to do is sign in at Augie.Augur.Labs.io with whatever Slack workspace you want to add Augie to, or just sign in with whatever Slack workspace. So we can walk through that here. So I'm currently adding it just to this testing workspace. If this will pull whatever Slack thinks you're currently logged into, and you can change it up here on the top right. This is basically just getting information from Slack about who you are so that we know what information to pull about you. And we basically have our host up here where we're pulling all the repositories from. And you can go ahead and say, maybe I wanted to track this repository, add it over here into your tracked repos. And these are all of the repositories in this column that we are basically signing up to receive notifications from Augie on.
So when you first see this screen, a new user is going to see the tracked repos is empty, and they'll drag and drop the repos that they wish to track over to the tracked repos side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
we'll walk through the
okay
brand new user installation right after this, just so you guys can see.
Right on.
And then here we have our max messages per day. There can be quite a lot of insights sometimes, so you might want to cap that out. And we have our track insight anomalies for box here, where you can say which types of insights you actually want to receive notifications for. And when you're done making your changes, you just press the save button, and we'll save all your settings and automatically update. And all of your communication with Augie, once that is configured, will be done through a direct message in your Slack workspace. So to find it for the first time, you would go to direct messages. If you've never spoken to Augie before, open a new one just like you would talking to anyone else, type in Augie, and they'll pop up once it's installed.
And I'm not seeing Augie on your screen right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And
just shared a window. Let me share my whole desktop. You see that now?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So what I was saying was, if you've never spoken to Augie before, you can go into your direct messages like you would any user, type in Augie's name, and start a direct message with them. Now, Augie is powered by Amazon Lex for all of its conversational ability. So you can ask Augie questions like, what host am I tracking? And Augie will respond to a limited number of these questions. It's not limited to certain keywords or anything. Augie works as a conversational bot like any person would, just
Can,
not as
can,
smart.
yeah, can you scroll up to see what you asked it? So, okay, so you asked what repos am I tracking, and it told you that what your current repos that you're tracking are.
Yep, which is a lot right now.
Yeah.
And up here, we can see kind of what a insight notification blast is going to look like from Augie. You'll get every day we reset the max messages that you receive, and each day you'll get one of these threads, new Augur insights, each day that there is insights. That includes basically all of the insights in here so that you don't get spammed with notifications. And we have important information like, there was an 8 commit count increase on this repository, and that represents a 100% increase from the mean. So let's walk through how to get this set up for the first time, because it's a little bit different.
So Jonah has demonstrated, here's a setup that he had going, and here's how he logs into it. And now we're going to do a brand new setup.
So I'll just log out here, and I'm going to sign back in as on Augur Labs. Let's sign in with a new workspace. I'll allow Augie information about me, and we get this little pop-up. So you're going to need to do these 3 steps, which is click that add to Slack button we saw earlier in the bottom right of the page. Go talk to Augie in the workspace to make sure that you start tracking your repository notifications. And then we'll specify the URL to our instance. So we're here. This is what a brand new user will see. We're not tracking any hosts. We don't have any tracked repos. There aren't any insights that we're interested in, and we're not receiving any messages yet. So we'll go down to the bottom right, and I'll add this to Slack. Make sure it's the right repository or right workspace, which is Augie testing. And I'll allow that to add it. And that opens me up in the workspace. So now I can go down to the Augie bot, say start tracking repositories. And Augie will respond and say, you got it. And we're still not going to receive any notifications because we haven't configured anything else just yet. So we're going to bump up our max messages per day. Say we want to receive about 100. And we'll say we want to track all of the different insight types. And then for an Augur host, we're going to use, is it new Twitter? AugurLabs.io. And now for right now, what was the
5003? Yeah.
Right now we are manually appending everything after the colon, but in about 2 hours, that's going to change, and you'll just need this first part. So we apply that host. Michael, do I need the HTTP?
Yeah, I found that we did, actually.
Yeah.
I'll apply the host with HTTP.
And we'll remove that requirement as well.
Yeah, that's work I'm going to be doing today.
Yeah.
Along with some other things.
So that gets us all of the different repositories that we can track from this host. And you can search. I don't know, I saw Korean text. We can filter based on that. And you can say, I'm interested in these repositories. And then we can
so real quick,
those.
another thing I'm going to add is you can add those in bulk instead of dragging them all over.
Is that what the checkbox is going to be for?
That's what the checkboxes are, so you can just click on them on the left, and you can see the checkboxes get checked now, just like how they show up on the right. But I'll add a little button that you can just mass add them to the right.
All right. That'll be awesome. That will save me a lot of time and other people too. Great news.
So then one last thing, once we have our settings saved, and you can still go back and talk to Augie over in I guess it's in this workspace. What repos am I tracking? Talk to Augie.
So this is in the
And
workspace
we'll
that
get
you
our
just,
configuration back.
right, this is the
Yep.
workspace that you just added the new Augie to. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, awesome.
And just a note, the only person that needs to press that add to Slack button is the very first person that installs Augie to a workspace. So if there are multiple users in the same workspace using Augie to track notifications, only the first person to install Augie needs to add it to Slack. Everyone else can just go through every other step of the process.
And then everyone else will, so the Augie install is a one-time deal, and but each individual in the workspace can have their own repos that they're tracking.
Mm-hmm. As long as you set up your own configuration and you talk to Augie, you will receive your own custom notifications.
Sweet. This is awesome.
I think that's it. Is there something else you wanted, John?
No, that is absolutely amazing. So what we have now with Augie up and running is a way that you can get notifications inside of Augur, inside of Slack from an Augur instance, so that you don't have to keep looking at a dashboard all the time. You'll actually get push notifications. And I think if you could go back to your Slack client one more time, Jonah.
Yeah.
I think one of the really good parts of this design is when you scroll up to one that you have gotten a bunch of messages from in the past, you'll see that it threads all of the notifications. So instead of Augie filling its message box with a bunch of messages that you have to scroll through, for each day it creates a new post, and then a thread. Each notification occurs under that thread. So your Augie conversation won't become a mass of hysteria. It'll be, on a given day, you'll see when that thread started, and you can use the threading to just see what the insights that Augie arrived at are. And another thing that we've done that we think is going to help most users is all of Augie's insights are going to be pushed at 9 a.m. GMT or UTC. So it'll be early in the morning for the US, and later in the day, early, kind of right in the morning in Europe. And that way you're not going to be using Augie and get a notification at 5 o'clock right as you're ready to go home and eat dinner with your kids and family that something really looks like you should look into it. So we're going to send those notifications at a time of day that doesn't cause you pain.
Okay, I'm going to stop my share now.
Yeah. Things that we have in mind for Augie in the future include more advanced queuing. So we can try to filter a little bit more. Also, more control of the user over the algorithm. Right now, on the server, whoever sets up the server configures the number of days that are trained as normal. So the default is 365, which is a year. And then also the number of days to search for anomalies. The default right now is 2. So that gives us training on a year looking for anomalies the last 2 days. On some of the servers that I've been configuring manually, I've gone with like 1,000 days or 1,200 days, about 3 years, and maybe a 7-day anomaly period. You won't get duplicate notifications, as I understand it, and so right now you'll have to work with your server administrator to fine tune the frequency of anomaly detection. But with a 1-year training window and a 2-day anomaly window by default, I think you're already in a pretty good shape to get the most important information that you'd want pushed to you. So any questions from folks about Augie or its nature? well, I'll just wax on briefly here, and then maybe we can end the call and put the recording up. One of the things that we've learned about how people look at information in open source is going to a dashboard is something that they might not, humans don't do by their nature. They may look at one occasionally, or they may have one sent to them occasionally, but it's not something that naturally occurs to a person to do. With push notifications, we're providing with Augur a significant advance in the user experience for open source software health and sustainability metrics consumers, in particular for folks who are in the in large scale spaces or small scale spaces, and they just want to get that notification. And so, yeah, that's it. If nobody, Carter, Michael, is there anything else you want to point out about Augie or its design?
I think something that would be really cool in the future of like allowing kind of specifying the threshold for anomalies would be really useful, because teams will probably have an idea of exactly how much of anomaly they want to be notified about, and that could be really cool. Especially, I know you said like Google Summer of Code students want to add on. Maybe that'd be a really good project or something.
Yeah. Another suggestion that one of our Google Summer of Code students had yesterday was to, if like someone gives a thumbs up or responds positively to a notification from Augie or thanks Augie for a notification, but most likely a thumbs up or emoticon, that we would record that and use that feedback as a way of recognizing what people are using, what they're consuming, and what the value that they're getting is, so that Augie over time through user feedback can become even smarter.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. And so once again, I just want to give a big shout out to the whole Augur team, and especially Jonah Zukowski, Gabe Heim, and Michael Woodruff, who are the three main folks who put all the different pieces of Augie together to make Augie real. Augie is your friend. Love Augie. We love Augie. There's actually a needle. Is it called needlepoint or cross? Is it called needlepoint, Jonah?
It was cross stitching.
Cross stitching.
I think.
Elita Nelson on our team actually has a cross stitch of the Augie logo that we will put somewhere online, or at least a photograph of it, as physical objects are not yet available online.
Oh wait, it was embroidered. She was very specific about that.
Embroidered. I knew she was quite specific, and I couldn't recall the specificity. So yes, embroidered. And we'll share that along with some other information once Kevin posts this video to YouTube. And let's see here. Hang on, I'm just going to go to augie.augur.labs.io and just remind people one last time what the beauty that we're dealing with is here. And of course, I can't figure out what screen to share. Is that it? That looks like it. Does this look right? Are you seeing Augie?
Does look right.
Are you seeing Augie?
I see it. Yep.
I can see it.
All right. So this is augie.augurlabs.io. You're going to get instructions the first time you go to it. You've got your Augie URL. You're going to start getting notified. And I've made the screen a little too narrow, so things are appearing in a slightly different area. But this is the beginning of Augie. You're going to get notifications from Augie in your Augur workspace. We're super excited about it and are excited to see people start to take up and use it. And so for all of the people at CHAOSS and Augur, I wish you good night, good luck, and stay safe out there.